Hey everyone, it's Rachel, and today we're going to take a look at my first guitar. So I've had this guitar for almost 4 years now. It was the one I started on, and if you've ever seen my first year guitar progress video, you've seen this guitar. But I haven't actually played this guitar in quite a while, really not at all over the last 3 years, ever since I got my other guitars that are behind me here. But I thought it'd be fun to take a look back at it, try playing it for the first time in a long while, and also let you know my thoughts on it now compared to when I first started playing and when I first got this guitar. So first of all, this guitar is a Fender Squier Affinity Strat, and I actually got it in a starter pack that came with an amp, a guitar strap, and guitar picks. And I think it was only around $200 actually when I got it. The amp the starter pack came with was a Fender Frontman amp that retails for around $50 or $60, so the guitar itself, this guitar, was only $150. Now, $150 is actually quite a good deal, I think, on this type of guitar. It was a really good starting guitar for me. I didn't really have any issues with it, and it was only $150, so in my book, that's pretty good. I think now the Squier Affinity Strats are actually a bit more expensive. They're around $200 for a similar guitar, but I think this was a really good value for the cost for a starting guitar for me. The guitar has a rosewood fretboard, it has a 5-way selector switch, it has 2 tone knobs, which I never use because I tend to not use the tone knobs at all, but you have them if you want them. It also has a volume knob, of course, and it has 3 single coil pickups. Now that I've been playing guitar for a while, I know that I actually prefer my guitars to have humbuckers because I'm playing mostly heavier music, and that works a lot better with humbuckers and helps to reduce a lot of the hum that comes with playing with higher gain sounds. But at the time I didn't know that, so I just went for the starter pack that had the 3 single coils, and it wasn't a big deal, but in retrospect, I probably would have preferred getting a guitar initially that had at least a humbucker in the bridge position. But I definitely can't complain about the tone from this guitar, especially at the $150 price point. The guitar also has a bolt-on neck here, which I'm not a huge fan of, not because I dislike bolt-on necks. All my guitars actually have bolt-on necks, but because this one feels pretty chunky and blocky and isn't the most comfortable if you're playing higher up on the neck. Overall, I really love how this guitar looks, especially when I first got it. I remember being so excited about it. I love blue guitars, as you can tell by all of my guitars, and I just loved the way this looked. I had never had a guitar, but I always thought they looked cool, so I remember being super excited when I got it and cleaning like the whole apartment just to have a place to put the guitar on display, to be able to look at it and just be happy about having it. Overall, of course, it doesn't feel or look the most premium. It was only $150, but I think if you like the style of guitar and you like the color you get, you'll be really happy with it, as I definitely was when I first got it. So now let's try playing this guitar for pretty much the first time in like 3 years, maybe even more than that. As I said, I haven't really played it since I got my other guitars. This should be interesting. I wonder how it holds up compared to my other guitars that I've been playing for all this time now. So I actually tuned the guitar before the video, and I have to say it was actually pretty much in tune after a really long time of not playing it, and that is really impressive to me considering the price point of this guitar. Now let's try it out. I'm actually pretty impressed by the action and playability on this. I haven't played in a while, so I didn't remember, but the action is actually quite low, and I never actually set this guitar up. This is just what it came like in the box. That's pretty cool. I'm impressed by that. The strings do feel a little bit sticky, but that's my fault because I probably haven't replaced them in like 2 years, so that's not the best. But yeah, other than that, this is actually super playable, and as I said, a lot better than I remembered it being, or I thought it would be compared to my other guitars. I do wish that I had the humbucker here, but it sounds pretty good, really. Wonder if I can hit a pinch harmonic on this? That might be the first pinch harmonic played on this guitar actually, because I don't think I was playing them back when I was actually playing on this guitar. A little bit weak, but you can do it. And now my favorite thing, power chords. Honestly, playing this guitar is a lot more fun and easy than I thought it would be compared to my other guitars. I mean, obviously it's not as nice as my other guitars, it doesn't feel quite as good to play, but it's also way less expensive, and if you're looking for a guitar in that $150 to $200 price range, definitely recommend checking out the Squier Affinity line because I'm pretty happy with how this is playing. Now there are, of course, a lot of other guitars in this price range that are worth checking out, and the ones that are a bit more expensive that might be worth the extra cost if you can do it. But if you want a guitar in this price range and you like how the Strat style guitar looks, then yeah, check out the Affinity line because this is actually really fun. And I think there are actually some Affinity line Strats that have humbuckers as well, so if you're looking to play hard rock and metal, maybe check those ones out instead. There was a period when I first started playing guitar where pretty much the only riff I knew was part of Heart's Crazy on You. That brings back some memories. I'm not sure if I'm actually playing it as it is in the actual song, but that's how I learned it. And yeah, as I said, that was pretty much the only riff I played for quite a while on the guitar, but I had a lot of fun with it and I liked how it sounded, so yeah, it brings back some memories playing that on this guitar again. Another thing I played a ton on this guitar was part of Hall of the Mountain King. It actually helped me a lot with my alternate picking. Let's see if I can remember how that went. There we go. That was another fun one, and another thing I played a ton when I was learning on this guitar. Yeah, this is actually just really fun to play around with, and again, it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The playability and string heights and string action on this is actually comparable to my much more expensive guitars without ever setting it up. And that's not to say that you shouldn't set it up or that you won't need to set it up if you get a guitar in a similar price range. I may have just gotten lucky with it because, you know, in less expensive price range guitars, they have less time to spend individually checking each guitar to make sure they're all perfect. So I probably just got lucky with this guitar. But again, I'm just pretty impressed with it, and looking back at it, I'm pretty happy that this was my first guitar. It was a really good way to start playing guitar and get a sense for the instrument before upgrading to something that fit my play style more exactly. One thing I am, of course, noticing is that the neck is quite a bit thicker than my other guitars because I'm typically playing my Ibanez guitars, which have very flat, thin necks, so they're pretty different in terms of how it feels, but this feels pretty good as well, and some people might actually prefer this more rounded, thicker neck. Playing this again now, I just remembered that one thing I had a ton of trouble with back in the day was doing pull-offs, hammer-on pull-offs on the high E string. I remember I used to kind of pull it off of the fretboard, which made not a pleasant sound, pull it off of the side of the frets, and luckily I have no problems with that now, so I guess it was me and not the guitar. Well, now I've just spent a lot more time than I thought I was going to playing around on this guitar for this video, which is going to make editing this video a lot more difficult for me because I'm going to have to cut it down and spend a lot more time finding clips for it, but definitely worth it to check out this guitar again. It's just been a lot of fun and it's a really fun guitar. Now, obviously I'm not going to stop playing my other guitars in favor of this one. I still prefer how my other guitars play and feel, and they just feel a bit higher quality, but they're a lot more expensive. And this guitar is really great for what I paid for it. Looking back at it now, I'm pretty happy that I went with this guitar as my first guitar. The only thing, as I mentioned, that I would have changed is I would have gotten at least one humbucker on my first guitar, but otherwise this guitar plays very well. It sounds good for what it is. And yeah, I think it was a good guitar to start out on, and to decide that I wanted to play the instrument before going in on a more expensive guitar. So this is my first guitar, but now I'm curious, for those of you who also play guitar, let me know in the comments what your first guitar was and whether you still play it. I'm really curious to hear what sorts of instruments you all started on as well. And if you're maybe just thinking about starting guitar and thinking about getting your first guitar, I've actually made a video in the past on what I think are the best electric guitars and amps for beginners, and that includes this guitar right here. So I'll have a link in the description if you're interested in getting more information. So I think that is about it. It's been really fun revisiting my first ever guitar about 4 years later, and I hope you enjoyed this experience as well. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.